Hi guys, it's Kepler and today I'm going to be sharing some unpopular K-pop opinions. I actually had another video plan which I'm editing, but that will take some time to edit, so I decided to do this video. Also, these are just my opinions and honest opinions and new opinions, so I hope that you don't get, offended or, annoyed by them, and I hope that you're respectful in the comments. And without wasting any time, let's get into these K-pop opinions. So the first opinion is that a lot of the K-pop groups that debuted or made comebacks between 2011 and 2017 wouldn't have gotten the same views they did as they did in the past if they debuted or made comebacks in the current era and year of K-pop that is going on. What I mean to say is that a lot of the groups in the past, meaning K-pop in the past, MV budget wasn't cared much, and a lot of groups were getting good views even though their MVs had mostly dance performance scenes and stuff. Like if you look at Swinkle Shake Your Body, Pure's I Still Love You, and Tiny G's Miss You, for example, Swinkle Shake Your Body has over 200k views on the official channel, and Pure's I Still Love You has 1.2 million, I believe so, views on Wanda K, and Tiny G's Miss You has 5.3 million views, I believe, but they have 5 million plus views on Wanda K, and these were groups that debuted or made comebacks between 2011 and 2017, and their MVs are mostly dance performance, and they still have good enough views even though they're still underrated. They still had good enough views for groups at that time, and a lot of other unknown groups were getting popular even though their MVs had mostly dance performance. So if groups like as I mentioned, Swinkle, Pure, Tiny G, and other groups debuted or made comebacks in the current era and year of K-pop that is going on, they wouldn't have gotten the views they have currently if they debuted in the current year or made comebacks in the current year of K-pop, because nowadays people care so much about MV budget and they make the MVs look high quality, top notch, adding random effects, making the MVs outstanding, as opposed to the past where people didn't care much about adding too many effects and stuff, and a lot of the MVs were dance performance. So if groups like these three groups that I mentioned and other groups that have the views that debuted in the past debuted or made comebacks now, they wouldn't have gotten the same views only because K-pop MVs are becoming more and more spectacular, more and more outstanding, more and more over the top, and more extra. And the K-pop MVs in the past are simple and plain, that comparing the now K-pop MVs with the previous eras and years K-pop MVs, the now ones will look better in comparison because the previous K-pop MVs are mostly dance performance in like a setting or a room or somewhere with just simple props or effects in the background, as opposed to now where they have thousands and thousands of props and edits and millions of Korean won spent on these props and edits and other things. So this next opinion is no hate to any K-tubers or anything. This is just my personal opinions when I watch one sentence or detailed K-pop opinion videos. I've seen K-tubers with one sentence K-pop opinions videos. They write juicy, nasty one sentence K-pop opinions in their titles. They write juicy one sentence K-pop opinions or nasty one sentence K-pop opinions. But then when I watch them, I get let down because these opinions are barely even mild. And I've only seen one K-tuber so far actually give juicy, nasty, and harsh opinions, one sentence that is actually harsh, juicy, and nasty, but they aren't hating on an idol in any way, or they aren't hating on anybody. Now, when I say juicy and nasty opinions, I want opinions that are harsh but are not hateful. They are just harsh and they are a little bit over the top. Because on my channel, when I make unpopular K-pop opinions videos, detailed ones, I like to keep my opinions new, original, fresh, and sometimes my opinions get a bit harsh because I like to rant about different things in the industry, about K-pop companies, about songs, about groups sometimes, and about K-pop fans. And because I make harsh opinions, I feel like I want others also to have this harsh opinions, because I make so many harsh opinions and I have so many harsh opinions in my head. Because of this, when I see others' harsh opinions that aren't even that harsh, I get let down and I get a little annoyed because my opinions sometimes get a little bit over the top. And because of this, I want others to also have over the top opinions, and when they don't provide it, I get a little bit mad. So this is no hate to any K-tubers or anything. It's just because I make harsh opinions, I want others to also have harsh opinions as well, and actually have harsh opinions and not just have a title that says harsh opinions but the opinions aren't even that harsh. This is just a personal opinion, so don't take this opinion seriously. I just make harsh opinions, so I want others to have harsh opinions as well. Now, the next opinion is actually an opinion that I had before and made before, but I forgot what I said in that opinions in that video, so I decided to give new thoughts on that opinion. And also, I saw a K-pop short and a comment that are both related to my video, so I decided to react to that comment in this opinion and give my own thoughts on that comment. Now, the opinion is big groups will get views no matter what, and the reason I say this is because if you look at big groups like Shining, Stray Kids, Asper, Everglow, and EXO. And if you look at their songs, Don't Fight the Feeling, Thunderous, First, Next Level, and Don't Call Me, these MVs are mostly dance performance, and the only thing that keeps them looking nice is the effects, edits, and props added. And besides that, these MVs are plain bland and boring for me, and I hate it. Now, the first reason why I hate these MVs is because the companies can afford good MVs, yet they chose to go a more simpler route and only spent a lot of money and time on the effects, edits, and props. Besides that, the MVs don't look as amazing as the previous MVs or the MVs they released after that. Now, another reason I hate these MVs is because a lot of smaller groups also have mostly dance performance MVs. Because of budgeting issues, they have mostly dance performance MVs, meaning they shoot in one location, and then they have solo member scenes with some members doing different things like playing or dancing or something, and then they have a mostly dance performance scene with all the members dancing in one area, and these MVs look mostly dance performance. And a lot of these groups have dance performance MVs because of budgeting and because they come from smaller companies, but fans don't seem to care. And these groups have barely even have half the views of these MVs, and they remain super underrated because their MVs aren't that good even though the songs are amazing. Like, why do people stream big groups that have mostly dance performance MVs and give them good views when smaller groups who do the exact same thing don't even get a fraction of the views that these big groups get? Like, a lot of small company dance performance, mostly MVs, are barely even 200k views, or they barely even 1 million views, and some of these groups are also barely even 100k views, while big groups they have almost to 100 million views, and some have even passed 100 million views. Like Stray Kids' Thunderous and Asper's Next Level have passed 100 million views. I don't know about Don't Call Me by Shiny, but EXO and Everglow are almost reaching 100 million views, and it sucks because most of these big groups that I mentioned have good views, while the smaller groups who have done the same exact thing by having a mostly dance performance MVs but a more plain one without much effects or edits or props, they didn't or don't get a fraction of the views because they don't come from big companies, or they don't come from companies where stans will blindly stream MVs and listen to them. Now, I was watching a K-pop short that said K-pop MVs that were criticized for being mostly dance performance, right? And there were a bunch of songs added, like a few, and one of them was PPT, and then there was, I believe, Next Level, and there was Everglow's First, and some of these songs with MVs that are mostly dance performance, right? And there was this comment that said all these songs are amazing, and personally PPT is a really iconic song, and I think it's a quite dumb reason for criticizing these MVs because all these are amazing. And I got really mad seeing this comment, and I commented things like, it's good that these groups are getting called out because they have a mostly dance performance MV and fans are streaming it, and smaller groups are doing the same exact thing, but they are not getting even the fraction of the views that these bigger groups are getting. And it really sucks, and it's really annoying. Like, why do people even not bat an eye towards big groups who have dance performance MVs, and they don't really care that the MV is mostly dance performance and they still stream the song. But then when smaller groups who have amazingly short MVs, even if they're mostly dance performance, why do they not care to check them out to see that they exist? Why is it that these bigger groups with mostly dance performance MVs are getting views? Why are why these big groups not underrated because they're mostly dance performance MVs? Like, why do people not care when big groups release dance performance MVs but don't even bat an eye when smaller groups do the exact same thing even though they have amazing songs? What do big groups have that smaller groups don't have when both smaller groups and bigger groups are releasing dance performance mostly MVs? Like, seriously, it's kind of annoying to me, and it's really sad, and it should stop. Okay, so this opinion is kind of similar to my video where I made titled, my opinions, and then people say 2021 K-pop is bad, or this year K-pop was better than that year, or this year was the best year for K-pop and stuff like that. and this opinion is basically on noise music. I've seen people say noise music is ruining K-pop, just as people say 2021 K-pop is bad or this year K-pop was better than that year. Now, the reason why I hate this just as much as I hate when people say 2021 K-pop is bad is because people don't know how to look for good noise music. I don't really know what qualifies as noise music, so I can't really give any recommendations or artists to check out or share songs. But people need to stop saying that noise music is ruining K-pop if they don't want to look. Like, why do people keep saying 2021 K-pop is bad, or this year K-pop was better than that year, or this year was the best year for K-pop, or noise music is ruining K-pop, if they're only going to listen to a small portion of groups that are popular and semi-popular? And why are they going to say these things if they're not going to properly look for artists and groups that fit these descriptions, so that you can find more music to love instead of having to judge just based on a small portion? Every single time I see people complain saying noise music is ruining K-pop, or 2021 K-pop was bad, or this year in K-pop was better than that year, or this year in K-pop was the best year for K-pop, or this year in K-pop wasn't as good and was underwhelming, or last year was better than this year's in terms of K-pop music. People complain and they say these things, but they don't want to look or search for good music so that they wouldn't have to say these things. People judge the whole industry of K-pop based on a small portion, as I said in that video, and people say things even though they're not fully aware of different songs and artists, and they only listen to a small portion of groups and artists, with very few people actually knowing super underrated artists and groups and stuff. So people shouldn't be saying this and complaining if they don't know a good amount of songs to be having a judgment or a mentality that noise music is actually ruining K-pop, or 2021 K-pop is actually bad, or this year is actually better than that year, or last year was better than this year. If they're just going to be basing their opinion on some songs and artists instead of having to actually know a good amount of songs, artists and groups to have a judgment, instead of just listening to some popular and some underrated groups, then they cannot have this opinion if they only know a small portion of K-pop instead of a good amount to actually have an opinion like this. So the last opinion of the day is actually about Kepler. Now, I watched a K-pop short that said K-pop idols that made the groups popular. Basically, they listed groups with K-pop idols debuting into them that made the group popular. They mentioned a bunch of groups. They also mentioned IVE because of Eugene and Wonyoung being former IZ*ONE members. And they mentioned Kepler. Now, I did not agree with the Kepler one, because they mentioned Kepler because of Eugene being a CLC member, former CLC member, and Hwening-Bahiyi, I don't know how to pronounce her name, being Hwening-Kai's sister. And I don't agree that these two members of Kepler made Kepler popular. They made Kepler more popular than they already were. And without Eugene and Hwening-Bahiyi, this group would have still shined and would have still been popular. Like, if you look at Girls Planet 999, it was created by Mnet, and Mnet is known for creating shows like Produce, and every group that has come out of Produce, like 101, IZ*ONE, IOI, and X1, these groups came out of Mnet's Produce series, and they were all super popular. And once they disbanded, fans were really sad to see them disband, because of the fact that they were popular, and seeing how many fans they had, for them to feel sad that these groups disbanded knows how popular they were. Now, without Eugene and Bahiyi, Kepler would have still been popular. So Eugene and Bahiyi didn't make these groups popular, they made these groups more popular than they already were. And without these two members, Kepler would have still been successful, because they came from Mnet, and a lot of people tuned in to watch Girls Planet 999, and a lot of K-tubers I've seen gave their own thoughts and opinions on eliminations of members and stuff like that from the show, and gave their own thoughts and views in different opinion videos. And I've seen many K-tubers do that. So basically, for this K-pop short channel to say that Eugene and Bahiyi made the group popular, no, that's false. They made the group more popular than they already were. They didn't make the group popular, but more popular. Without these two members, Kepler would have still been popular, and they would have still shined without these members.
Oh, today I won't be thinking about you. I'll get by on someone else's love.